Uh, uh, uh. Business. We talking about Africa, y'all. We get into it. We got some really good topics today. All right. So just go ahead and come up in the chat and we're gonna get to it. We gonna get to it like we do it. All right. We got any dusty Cretan creatures in the chat? Not yet, huh? All right. If y'all have any issues with anything I'm saying, you guys can definitely call the show. Um, if y'all got any issues with anything I'm saying, y'all can definitely call in the show. Um, Give me a second. We waiting to get an audience, and then we're gonna begin. All right, y'all. Let's give it a second. All right, all right, all right. We got some people here yet. Look like we don't got much of an audience today when we talking about the 5 reasons I love Africa. Now the views is low. Unfortunate. When I talked about the 5 reasons I hate Africa, everybody was on board. But now I'm talking about the 5 reasons I don't love. I love Africa. Now they not wanting to be present. All these damn dusties. They only want to come when it's smoke. They don't want to come when you talking about something positive. But shout out to all the people that's here as we talk about something positive, man. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. Today we got the 5 reasons you will love Africa. Now, just recently I did a video talking about the 5 reasons you will hate Africa, and I want you guys to check that one out. It was a great breakdown of how there are certain things in Africa that a lot of people they don't really want to talk about, whether it's corruption, whether it's you know. Maybe you have a lot of scammers, you have a lot of maybe women trying to sell it, and you guys know what it means, right? So that's what we have sometimes, that's what we see a lot of times in Africa, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that Africa in its entirety is a bad continent to visit, right? Um so we're just going to jump into this. As you guys know, I'm a Black American. I've traveled to many different countries within inside of the continent of Africa, and I've been to many countries around the world. But something in my heart really resonates with Africa. I don't know if just because I'm melanated. I don't really know, but I'm sure a lot of you guys maybe are probably having that same feeling as well. And I think it's important to talk about, the things that we hate about the continent, but also the things we love. A lot of African countries are extremely similar. So this is how I'm able to kind of, gather this kind of information. And yeah, that's really what's going on. So uh, let's just jump into it. All right. 5 reasons you will love Africa. And as I just previously said, I did a video recently talking about the 5 reasons that you will hate Africa. But it's important to touch on, reasons that you hate something and also reasons that you love something, even if the thing that we're talking about is something that is typically unloved or something that people hate. There's beauty in everything. Okay. And I want to tell you guys, as a Black American man, I've been traveling all around Africa for many years now. I've noticed and learned a lot of things, and while there is some things that, a lot of people like to skip over because I don't know why they're trying to be nice to the continent or something like that. They don't want to speak on the corruption. They don't want to speak on the evil governments. They don't want to speak on, you know, uh, the ladies that are selling it. And a lot of you guys know what it means, right? There's a lot of these ladies, they call them working girls. They're selling it inside of Africa. And, that stuff can be unappealing. So it's important for me as a raw channel and a real channel to express, the things that I hate about a country, but also the things that I love about a country. If you guys want full videos like this, they'll typically be on patreon.com /Traveltriberaw. Okay. That's patreon.com /Traveltriberaw. That's where you guys can find all of my live streams. Typically, I go for maybe 1 hour. It could go up to 4 hours, like when I was talking about how much I, hate certain things about Africa. Now, it's important before jumping to the conclusion that you guys all skip to that video. If you guys haven't seen that one, see the things that are hated, but then see the things that are loved as well. So you guys can get both points of views. I'm not here to sugarcoat. I'm here to keep things very raw and real. That's what we preach on this channel, a real and raw lifestyle. All right. Now, before I begin, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Africa is not just one country, okay? So many people, when they speak about Africa, they think that, it's like the same country. Actually, a lot of people outside of, Africa don't really know that there's different countries in Africa. They think it's just one big continent. Excuse me, just one big country, not understanding it's a one big continent broken into 50 plus countries, right? I believe it's about 50 plus, right? Um, so that's important, So while I'm talking about Africa, I'm basically just generalizing the entire continent based on what I've seen. There's a lot of similarities inside of you know, these countries. For instance, Americans, they always act like, oh, America's so different, in this state and this state. But really all American states are damn near exactly the same. You have certain states that you maybe think to yourself, I'll never be going there because nothing's going on, or they're constantly, having some gang issues. But then, like every place, like every big country, every big continent on earth, there's places you should go and you shouldn't go. Okay. So you can generalize America and you can definitely generalize Africa. So that's what I'll be doing inside of this video today. Okay, guys? Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys share the video as well so we can push me up in the algorithm. All right. So, first thing that you will love about Africa is the natural beauty. Africa is so beautiful, and it has a natural beauty to it as well. Like, not much needs to be done. For instance, in this picture you guys can see on your screen, this is Cape Town. Now, I've spent a lot of time inside of Cape Town. Actually, when I originally went, I only expected to be there for a couple days, but it was so beautiful. I just got addicted and I couldn't leave. I almost felt like I was being held hostage because it was so beautiful there. And it's like one of those things where it's like I'm pretty sure the South Africans were ready for me to leave, but me as an American seeing this level of beauty, I said, nah, I'm sorry, guys. I got to stay around a little bit longer. South Africa is such a beautiful place. And, a lot of times when people think about Africa, they're thinking about, tents and huts and stuff. But even if you go to Kenya or even West Africa, you guys will notice there's some very beautiful spots. Even in Nigeria, I think it's a part of Lagos, Nigeria. I can't remember, but there's a part of Nigeria where you have a large body of water and it kind of resembles Dubai in a certain type of way. Actually, I'd say a lot of these African ladies that, might flex and act like they've been to Dubai, they probably just went to Nigeria. There's a certain place in Nigeria that looks so luxurious. Even Cape Town has it as well. So these are some things that you'll definitely notice. But I just want to say, whether it's Accra, Ghana, Nairobi, Kenya, Cape Town, South Africa, there's so much beauty inside of the continent, inside of these countries, guys. And when I say a lot of these countries are very similar, I'm not saying that to say that they don't have different cultures, different religions, different tribes. There's differences in that. But overall, I kind of saw the same thing in all of African countries. It was kind of the same kind of situation. You know, um, for instance, inside of South Africa, I'd say that was the only country that was a bit different from all the African countries. It was so modernized, like so modernized. You know, sometimes when you get outside of the major cities, like in Nairobi or Accra, Ghana, you'll start seeing, maybe some of the roads need a little bit of work. Maybe some buildings are not exactly up to your standard as an American, but you have to express, originality. Sometimes, something that looks normal to you as a Westerner or an American, might not be normal to them. So they might want to work their parts of their country a bit differently. Not all nice places have huge skyscraper buildings, guys. There is some cities that decide to do their own thing. Okay, so I'll just keep that there first. All right. What's good, the truth slanger? Shout out to the truth slanger. He in the chat. What's good, brother? We talking about the 5 reasons you will love Africa. So I appreciate you being here and everybody else that's watching. As we can see, this one doesn't get as much views as the one when we were talking about things that you will hate about Africa, which is unfortunate, but it shows us humanity. It shows us how humanity goes. A lot of guys, they say they're not into drama, they're not into gossip, yet when you do a gossip type video, you see a lot of guys show up. So shout out to the real ones that are here to hear the positives about Africa as well. Um, so, uh, Africa, yeah, it's very diverse. There's a lot of different types of countries that you'll run into, and they all have their own form of beauty. That's the amazing part about Africa. It's the natural beauties what really gets me. Like, as you guys can see in this picture in Nairobi, Kenya, there's literally a giraffe walking in what a lot of people will call their backyard. Like, the fact that you can be in your apartment and see a giraffe walk by, the government, of course, they're going to, get the giraffe back to, nature. But a lot of times they'll just leave the giraffe there if it's not bothering anybody, if it's not in a major city, if it's just eating grass. It's nice to be able to watch, wildlife from your window. I really did appreciate that about Kenya. I really did appreciate that about Ghana. This is the amazing part of going to Africa. You get to be one with the nature, and it's a beautiful thing, especially when you're far away from them, right? You don't want to be too up close because they might bite you, and that's not a pretty sight. But from a far distance is very nice. Now, if you're Tarzan, then, or the Avatar blue people that are really connected to nature, you might be able to get close and touch them. But for me, I'm good. I'll stay at a distance. Next thing that's beautiful about, Africa, in a lot of African countries, they have this in common. A lot of the ladies and a lot of the brothers are in shape. They have this thing where, I mean, golly, everybody's in shape, guys. And a lot of them do not go to the gym. A lot of them are just naturally good looking people, man. And it's a great thing to see. In America, when you walk around, it kind of gets you a little depressed, man. I'm not going to lie. You seeing everybody a bit chubby, all this stuff. You kind of thinking to yourself, I'm not body shaming, but I think to myself, damn, you know, since America's, an evil corporation and they keep pumping people with these foods that aren't good for them, you see a lot of people walking around sluggish and they're talking like this. And, hey, how's it going? Because unfortunately, America, they don't really care about the health of people like that. They say they do, but when you look at the people, you're like, wow, these are some pretty big people. In Africa, everybody is in shape, guys, and that's so nice. I see we have some more intelligent people coming in, to today's live stream. Shout out to you guys for being here. But yeah, right now we're just talking about the 5 reasons that you will love Africa. So far we talked about the beautiful landscapes and the beautiful nature and wildlife and beautiful horizons, and we're also talking about how the people, they look great as well. You have the brothers that are very fit, you have the ladies that are very in shape, and you're thinking to yourself, how the hell do these people get these amazing physiques without even doing any work? Really, all they do is walk a lot. Now, I have a theory, and this isn't to offend any African people. Some reason Africans, when you say certain things as an American, they think maybe because they may think that you're against them, but then you have certain black people like myself that I identify as an African American. So, a lot of things that I say about Africans, even if I'm critical, it's really for the best of them. Even when I'm critical about Black Americans, it can come off the same way. They might think, oh, he's trying to attack me because I'm a Black American, but no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying what needs to be said. And some things are critical, and people, they take that and they're like, oh my gosh, that offended me. But then when you say positive things, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, yep, that's me, that's me. But at both of them, whether it's critical or it's positive, both of these things are to either give perspective that can be beneficial, or it's to, flatter, but at the end of the day, they're both to uplift, So I just want to say this. When I talked to some Africans and I said certain things like, the reason Africans are so in shape is because a lot of times, from what I've seen, there's a lot of African countries where people, they don't exactly take cars. They don't drive cars to school. And a lot of times they walk to get to their location or get to where they need to be. Um, See, a lot of Africans, that will offend them, and they'll say, oh, you think we don't have cars? I didn't say that Africans don't have cars. There's plenty of Africans that I know and that I've seen that have cars. What I'm saying is the reason I believe they're so naturally in shape is because when you walk, naturally your body starts to get used to a healthy rhythm, which makes you have a stronger metabolism. So you're able to digest food easier. And, it's unlike how the Americans, they drive everywhere. And while we look at driving as so beneficial, sometimes it's not beneficial to your health because when do you have time to walk? If you sit at home all day and you watch TV and you're on your phone, if you get up out of your seat from your house and then go to work and you drive there and you sit in your office all day, you're not exactly getting the health that you need. So I believe Africans are very in shape because they walk a lot. Even when it comes to the thick sisters in Africa too, I'm gonna tell y'all this: they don't really need to do squats and go to the gym that much. They do squats damn near every day when they walk in and go into all these damn places they go into. And I'm gonna tell you as well, the food, since the food is so amazing and the food tastes so good, it's so natural. You have it to where the Africans, they're eating certain foods that it's not staying in their body that long. The body takes what it needs and it discards of what it doesn't. So you'll notice this. Actually, I'll tell you guys something as well. I'm not really the most biggest person, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty tall, but I would say that, I maybe have like a slim fit build. When it comes down to it, uh, when I go to Africa, so right now, currently I'm 200 pounds in America, but when I go to Africa, I slim down to 180 immediately. Like it only takes me 1 month, and I eat a lot in Africa, but it just takes me a while, so I slim down so quick inside of Africa. Uh, Brother, the truth says America feeds you poison and gets rich off of it. Yeah, shaking my head. Exactly, and that's the problem, So that's why a lot of African people are in such great shape as it pertains to the women and the men. So shout out to them, man. Keep walking. It's a great thing to walk. I almost wish, we didn't have to drive everywhere, but in America, our jobs are kind of far sometimes, or, we have to go places that are quite a far distance. And a lot of times in Africa, you have everything you need in your city, so you don't have to go all the way to another city to get to your job. Now, sometimes they have to do this in Africa too, which is unfortunate, but the main thing here, the main goal of what I'm saying is they walk a lot, and that's why they look so great. They're in great shape. Now, as it pertains to the people, I want to say this, and this is something I really like about the Africans. They really have a thing that I think a lot of us Black Americans can learn from them, and this is their love for family. This is something that's extremely rare to me in America these days. We don't really take family that serious. um there used to be a thing where we had these things called family reunions, where you reunite with your family and you guys break bread together, you guys eat together, drink together, and have a festive time. Now we rarely see things like that inside of America, and it just shows you how the what they call the nuclear family is just completely nuking itself and going downhill. So Africa definitely has this a lot. When you think of highly feminine women, when I think of highly feminine women, I think Africa. That's like the first, continent that comes to mind. A lot of African countries, they have such feminine women. Like, I mean, guys, it's to a point where their voices are so soft that, man, I mean, it brings your stress level down. I actually feel like a sense of peace for the first time in my life. Like I constantly feel like I'm working hard as a man and I'm doing so much, but when an African woman speaks to me, I feel so at peace. Like it's something that you think you can gain peace from other things. As a man, I do gain peace from certain things. Like I love to get massages. I have some other things that I do that brings me extreme peace. But it's something about a soft-spoken, woman that just like makes you just feel so calm. It's such a calming feeling, guys. So that's excuse me, I was checking my audio. So it sounds like the audio is coming in good. If you guys want to call in, you guys can definitely just let me know and I'll drop the link inside of the chat. But we're having a healthy conversation today. Unlike our yesterday's conversation, it was healthy, but we were talking about the things that I hated about Africa and the reasons you will hate Africa. Excuse me, not the things I hate, but the reasons you will hate Africa. So yeah, to end off on this one, for the natural beauty of a lot of African countries, the women, they're highly feminine, especially when they're outside the city. And another thing that's really great about them as well is they're easy to please. I mean, in America, I just feel like the bar is set so high and it's unrealistic, really. And I almost feel bad for the women because they feel like in America, as women, they're failing because they're not getting men that are buying them Mercedes Benzes and stuff, not understanding that a lot of American men, they spend their last dollar to make a lot of these American women happy. But when you're comparing yourself to other women, which American women and Western women in Europe and other countries typically do a lot, you're not focusing on what's really at hand. You have a great man that's here to provide and protect you, but yet nothing's ever enough. And when you give an African woman, roses, that really sticks with her. When you give her flowers, when you treat her nice, when you're respectful, that really like does everything. That's all she really ever needs. You take her to a nice restaurant. I remember you guys see me with a lot of ladies on my channel. Typically when I had these women around, I take them to maybe one nice restaurant per month, but it was like a really nice one, right? Like super duper nice, like extra fancy, all this stuff. But their meal only ran me maybe $50 and my meal was maybe $50, right? But when I tell you how they paid it back to me in every single way outside of the bedroom, because I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, well, she had to smash and stuff. No, no, no. They repay it by being feminine, by being respectful, assisting you with certain things you're doing in business, you know? So it's really appreciated, man. So, I'll say that about the natural beauty. Like things are just in order there. And there's some things that are not in order when it comes to, the ladies. It's not like you're going to find perfect women in any country. Even America has some great women, but it's rare, right? But in certain countries in Africa, you'll notice there's a certain peace as it pertains to the women. And I'm telling you guys, it's beautiful. Another thing that's beautiful about the country is the I guess I'll get to that after. I just realized I mixed up my talking points, so I'll get to that after. But if anybody wants to call in right now, you guys can definitely call in, and then we're going to get into the next uh the next reason, excuse me, that you would love Africa. Let's see if we have anyone wanting to call in on the recent show that we did. Everybody and their mama wanted to call in when we was talking negative about Africa, when we was being critical. Now nobody really wants to call in, I see, but it's cool. I appreciate the ones that are here to listen to something that is, peaceful, something that's positive. A lot of people, they can only feed on, hate or criticism. They can't feed on positive energy. This is because they're dealing with a body that is not alkaline. Their body is filled up with toxins and poisons, and that can be physical and mental. And unfortunately, since it's filled up with all of this, they're not able to ever have any true peace. You notice this in a lot of women as well. Like you'll be around a woman, and the only way that she can be happy with her man is when he brings destructive chaos, whether that's being inside of these crazy gangs and doing wild things. And you notice that she can only get peace when she feels like her life is in danger. The reason that is because a lot of these people and women these days do not live in alkaline. They don't have an alkaline mentality, a pure healthy mentality. So shout out to everyone that's here right now. Now, the next thing that we have, the next reason that you will love Africa is because in a lot of the countries it's extremely safe, right? Now, the saddest part about living in America for so long is that as Americans, we think this is it. We think that no country gets safer than America, right? Because America is a first world country. Yet when you go to countries like Accra, Ghana, Nairobi, Kenya, and Cape Town, you realize that these countries are so safe that, you know, it's to the point where they say crime happens in their countries, and I'm sure it does, but geez, it's like I've never dealt with police brutality or any gang kind of stuff in most of the African countries I've been to. And I've been all over Africa, so to see that is beautiful, right? All that police brutality and gang stuff is out when you guys get to some of these countries. There's so many countries around the world too, and it's so sad. There's so many countries around the world that have so much beauty to them. Like as you guys can look on your screen right now, just imagine being somewhere like that with your homie and just walking and talking about life. Doesn't that bring you guys peace? Doesn't that make you feel relaxed? You don't have to worry about the police stopping you and saying, "What are you two black people doing at a park?" You don't have to worry about some gangs doing this stuff like that. There's so much peace inside of these African countries, guys. It's like a mixture of the nature and the people in these countries, man. It brings you so much peace. I'm going to tell you guys real quick my worst experience inside of Africa. And it was a time late at night. This was the only experience that I actually hated inside of Africa. And to this day, it's still just a memory of it. sometimes puts me down, but I have to remember what happened after, which made everything great. So I was in a certain country, which I'm not going to mention, because when you say one bad thing about one African country, now everybody thinks that African country, you shouldn't go to it because it's dangerous and evil. But this country is such a great country, but I'm not going to mention it. For the ones that followed me from my old channel and they're here now, you guys know which country that was. But for the ones that weren't there, you may not know. I was in a certain African country. You guys know I'm a Black American, and I had just went to a grocery store late at night so I can gather some food and cook some stuff because I didn't have any food in the house. Usually, I'll go out during the day or maybe right when the day's ending, like it may be 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Right? I get to the store, I buy my groceries. It's like 2 bags full. I'm inside this car. My driver's car breaks down in this very busy street. So he gets out the car. He's like, can you like kind of steer the wheel? So I'm kind of steering the wheel, right? And you know, the dude, he's outside of the car pushing the car. Mind you, my phone was in my hand, kind of just like, just out in the open next to my window. But I said, I'm good. My windows and doors are locked, so nobody's gonna break into the car, right? And try to grab my phone. Typically, inside of a lot of these countries, even in America, they do this. They'll grab your phone if your phone's hanging out of a window, right? This is normal. This happens in a lot of countries, guys. Phone jackings, phone robberies is very normal stuff that happens in the robbery kind of thing. Theft is one of the biggest crimes in many countries. So I'm holding my phone, but I'm also steering this dude's car wheel. And the guy's outside pushing his car, trying to get it to a close gas station so he could figure out why the car broke down. These two guys come to the door, come to my side of the car on the passenger side. One guy opens the door, the other guy grabs my phone, they run off into a forest. Now I'm chasing after these guys, and I just can't believe in my mind. I'm filled with rage. I'm like, I can't believe these dudes, like, they gonna test me, and I can't believe they trying to play me like this. So I chase after them, and I find myself inside of a forest after a while, right? I'm chasing after them so long, and I'm like, where the hell, how the hell did I even get in here? And I get to the guy, right, that I'm chasing that has my phone in his hand. I grab him, I try to throw him down. He doesn't fall, but instead, I end up ripping his shirt, and he throws my phone and runs off. So I get my phone back. Now I get back to where the forest entry gate is, but I can't find how I got in. So I'm trying to get from this forest, but there's all this barbed wire on the fence. So I keep trying to jump over, but the barbed wire is hitting my hand. My driver runs to me, run, run, you need to run. They're coming, they're coming. I said, where? They come from where? Like, he's like, it's the gang, the gang. You're at the place where the gang is at. Mind you, in this country, I was in the old town of this country, so I didn't even know that gangs existed over here and stuff. I didn't even know what I was doing, right? I just chased after these dudes. So eventually, I hear something. I hear a taser, zzz, zzz, zzz. And in these countries, a lot of them don't have guns and stuff. So the guy that I ripped his shirt and I tried to throw him down, and I was gonna do him worse than that, honestly, but it's probably good that I didn't, because he probably would have chased after me faster. So now I see three dudes. Now they're chasing after me. The dude that I try to grab and throw down, he has a big ass machete. The dude that opened the door, he doesn't have any weapon, and this new guy has a taser. So now I'm running from these guys, but the country I was in, it was so hilly, I kept falling. I get up, fall, get up, fall, get up. Eventually, the dude with no weapon, he holds my foot down, and the dude puts a machete to my neck. I kid you guys not. I get a machete put to my neck, and actually the dude swung it so hard that I actually thought for a second, when I turned my head, because I was like, and I thought my neck was gonna, you know. So after this, the dude, he ran to me. He put a taser to my face. He was trying to, like, put a taser in my face, and it was just the craziest experience. Excuse me. So I ended up, with all my might, fighting my way out. Still had my phone, all this stuff like that. It was a miracle, y'all. I'm serious. Because as much as I want to say, like, I'm bad, I'm a bad boy, I'm bad. Yeah, man, this is what it is. I'm just a man at the end of the day. I'm just one man. You feel me? So to fight off three dudes like that, and there was brothers after that told me, like, man, if I was there, I would have done the same thing, chased them and got my. Don't do it. Don't do it. I did it because, it was an ego thing. I'm thinking to myself, these dudes, they got some nerve. They gonna steal from me. You gonna steal from me? But then now that I'm pinned down and one dude's holding my foot, the other dude put a taser to my face. One dude has a machete to my neck, and the only reason I got away was because I could fight off the two dudes with the taser and the dude that was holding my foot. But the dude with the machete, that's long range, right? That's long. All he had to do was slash it on me, right? But he stepped away because he was trying to call 5 more guys to come. And I know it was going to be bad. Trust me, y'all, it was going to be bad. It was going to be bad. I'm not going to lie, it was going to be bad. But luckily, I found my way out. I jumped. I made it. There was a lot of blood, not for me. I had to do certain things to survive. A lot of blood was on me, not for me. The police, the local police, they come, they clear out this bus. They say, everybody get off this bus right now. This man needs to go. He's injured. The local people are the ones who really assisted me. They said, "What? Oh my gosh, what happened? I can't believe this happened to you." Even my driver, he even helped me with the police. He called the police for me, I believe. Um, and I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of people in this country. These African brothers and sisters. One dude grabs my jacket off of my body. I thought he was trying to take it from me in front of the police, so I just let him have it. It's like, man, you know what? At this point, I done fought my way out of this stuff, man. I am not about to fight no more people. The police right here. Whew, at least I can relax. So if this dude about to steal my jacket, fine. You know, the dude. This is a random guy. The only blood that was coming from me was from my arm. I didn't know this, but my arm had been pricked by the barbed wire when I jumped over it. So all this blood was squirting all over the place. The dude doesn't even know me, but he grabs my jacket and wraps it around my arm so I don't bleed out. I didn't even notice all the blood was coming from my arm. He grabs that. He helps me so I don't bleed out. These other African brothers, they put their arm under me with all this random blood on me. They don't know where the blood's from, but they put their arm under me and they assisted me into getting inside of the bus, right? It was to the point where even the police, they even said, like, if anybody can assist them. All these African brothers and sisters crowded around me, asked how they can be of service to assist me. So a lot of times people, they can say to themselves, oh, Africa's dangerous, Africa's not safe. Africa is extremely safe. This was a freak accident that happened to me due to the fact that I had my phone close to a window and my doors weren't locked how I thought it was. So one dude opens the door, another dude. I thought as long as the windows was rolled up, I was good. Regardless of how it goes, I should not just have my phone. It's a big old iPhone. It's a big, nice iPhone. That's like a whole month worth of a lot of the people's paycheck in Africa. So, you know, it's not even a month worth, really. These new iPhones, like, to be $1,000, that's like 3 months worth for an African person's income. For a lot of African countries, they making about, and this is on the high end, 350 USD per month, right? I know the math isn't mathing, but they're making about $300 per month in a lot of these African countries for a lot of standard basic jobs, you know? So I had something that's worth 3 months of their rent, of their life, man. They're going to try to steal it. I understand. I get it. And, the saddest part, too, is that since I'm understand them so much, I still look at them as evil people, but I also understand that, unfortunately, since their evil government has stripped them, you guys have to remember these African governments are so corrupt and evil. They strip the people inside a lot of these African countries of everything they need to survive. Just imagine what type of life that is. That's why I believe when I got into that forest and they actually, one of the dudes hold me down and the other dude put a taser to my face, I believe that they didn't even know what to do because they're not even used to offing people. A lot of them, I don't think they even doing it because it's for sport. In America, they robbing people and then they gonna off you too. But a lot of times in these countries, these people, they not trying to off you. They trying to get their money and go. They're not trying to off you. In America, they gonna rob you and probably off you. Man, in Africa, they that's not the goal. You feel me? In a lot of these countries, actually, around the world that America tells you be scared of, that's not the goal, man. That's not the goal. America's trying to lie to us and convince us that's the goal, but it's not. All right. So, like I said, it sounds messed up, right? In this African country I'm talking about, that okay, these dudes, they robbed me, grabbed my phone, and I chased them into a forest. I got it back, but we have to keep in mind, number one, their government has stripped them of everything they need. In America, we have Section 8, child support, alimony. We have food stamps. In these countries, they have nothing because their government has stripped them of everything. Does that mean that you should do evil to your brothers that's there to visit? No, but it also means we have to understand that you have to move a certain type of way when you go to some of these countries, you know? So secondly, we have to also remember this is a small gang, that had grabbed my device, right? That I had to fight. This was a small gang inside this African country. They told me it was a pretty big gang, but when I was back there, I only seen only a few people that chased me in this forest, right? So we have to remember I was surrounded when I came back to the street, when I jumped over the barbed wire forest. I was surrounded by hundreds of people inside this African country that tried to offer me assistance with all the blood on me, not just from me, but from others as well. And just to see how these brothers and sisters really took care of me and they got me to the hospital and the hospital made sure I was good. And the hospital didn't even charge me any money. The hospital just did it. And they said, we're going to do this because this isn't how we operate in our country. This isn't how we operate. So I want you guys to know there's great people in these African countries, great people, amazing people. The fact that so many people surrounded me and said these are people that were just getting, maybe they're trying to find a ride to, they get off work late. These are good people, man. Africans are really good people. Mind you, it wasn't these regular people that was robbing me. It was the gang, and that's there's not that many gangs in Africa too. Real like organized gangs, like how some of these American government officials be running. Yeah, there's not real organized gangs like that. You know what I'm saying? There's little mini gangs, but at the end of the day, their goal isn't to off you. Their goal is to get money because their government has corrupted them. Okay, guys? Shout out to Tunnel Runner. He says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, brothers. Good afternoon to all the people inside of the chat. We're talking about the 5 reasons you will love Africa. All right. Another beautiful thing about how extremely safe Africa is for people that are looking to maybe have offspring or have some youth, that are trying to walk to school. Africa's a great place for this. One thing I did as a hobby, and this is going to kind of sound crazy, but man, I'm a good person, man. And, a lot of people know me, my records speak for itself. I used to just love when the kids would come out from their school, right? At the end of the day, sometimes I just sit on my balcony. I was so high up, but just watching them walk home and play in the streets, play football in the streets, that made my soul my soul, y'all. Because the offspring and the youth in America don't get to walk home late at night, just kick football with their friends. The little girl, outside in America, they don't be feeling safe to see how these was just walking at night. And I just knew if anything popped off, the community will attack you. You don't get to do nothing to the youth, man. The community not playing with you in these countries. So it was so beautiful to see that the youth can just walk the streets in peace. Nobody trying to rob. Even the gangbangers got morals in these countries, man. Even the gangbangers got morals, man. They know, man, we gonna protect these jits, man. They the youth, they the future. They gonna protect them. In a lot of these African countries, you do have the small African country outliers, right? Where they actually have the grabbing the jits and making them work on these gold plantations, and making them work on this stuff, labor and stuff, right? But for the most part in Africa, that's not happening in a lot of African countries, right? So that's the beautiful thing, and I'll tell you guys this. Africa is very dangerous, right? Africa is very dangerous. It's very dangerous. I know it's contradicting to everything I just said, right? But Africa is very dangerous. Y'all want to know what the most dangerous part about Africa is? I need to hear it in the comments. Somebody call in. Y'all want to know the most dangerous part about Africa? I'm going to tell y'all the truth right now. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Y'all ready? Let me know. Somebody in the comments. Somebody in the comments. Let me know. We going to wait. We going to wait. If nobody want to hear, we'll just end off early. We just gonna end off early. I guess nobody want to hear. Y'all want to hear what the most dangerous part about Africa is? Y'all ready? Let me know. Somebody hit me in the chat. Hit me in the chat. Let me know people listening. Hit me in the chat. We need a comment. We need a comment from somebody. We gonna wait. We gonna wait. Folks can be stubborn. Give me a good little minute to sip on some water. Chill out. We gonna wait. It's cool. We got a nice little audience. But we need to hear it in the chat. Y'all want to know what the most dangerous part about Africa is? Let me know. We gonna wait because we got other topics to get to too. We ain't talked about the club life, the all this stuff, the women, all that. It's cool. We gonna wait though. We gonna wait. Shout out to Tunnel Runs, man. Shout out to this brother. He says, we're listening. Shin Mir comes in and says, being poor because you cannot bribe. And the truth comes in. Shout out to all the folks that's actually making their voices heard in the chat, man. Shout out to y'all. But the most dangerous part about Africa is these goddamn animals, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Y'all want to know when I really felt fear in Africa? You know, when I really felt like, damn, my life might be in critical danger. This is when I was in this damn safari, man. So I only out of all the years I've traveled to Africa, I only had that one bad incident where that dude stole my phone and I chased him into that forest. Mind you, you don't have to chase these people into the damn forest. I have phone insurance. For me, it was an ego thing. It was a poor decision. I wouldn't suggest it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you moving with a pack and you're not solo dolo, cool. But I wouldn't suggest it because I had to fight off a lot of people to get that phone back. Wasn't no joke. But the most dangerous part about Africa, look at Shimira says hippos are more dangerous than crocodiles in Africa. Man, it is. Let me tell you how bad it is with these damn animals, man. You go to a safari. I went to a safari. I didn't know you couldn't yell at the elephants, right? I was like, I was doing a little elephant noise. You know what I'm saying? I was playing around. You know, I had a whole safari to myself. Man, this elephant done chased our damn our damn car, man. He done chased. It was a big old safari car. This elephant started chasing us, and the dude said, "No, you can't do that. Can't do that." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Man, elephant's one of the most dangerous creatures." So that's the most danger you're gonna run into when it comes to Africa, y'all. Okay. So don't be in fear if you guys go to Africa, man. You know, beside the next biggest thing I'll tell y'all to worry about in Africa is shoot, if you plan to be in places near large bodies of water in the middle of nowhere, in the major cities, you good, right? But malaria is common in rural areas in Africa, far away from the major cities. I'm not talking about if you just go to the outskirts for a few days. If you go to a place far away where there's barely any infrastructures and stuff like that, lots of more dirt, lots more mud, roads and stuff like, yeah. Large bodies of water carry more mosquitoes. Yeah, malaria, you might need some malaria pills. Simple as that. But I'm gonna be real. Even when I was around there, I didn't get malaria. But they tell you it exists, but I ain't never seen it. You know, at least from my own eyes. I know it exists, but I ain't never experienced it. Shout out. But yeah, you know, first real danger in Africa is these goddamn animals, man. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. These animals, if y'all go to a safari, yeah, that's when you're gonna really feel like, damn, my life might be in danger. Besides that, the African brothers and sisters are great people to be around, man. I'm telling you, I ain't never really had no real issues with the African brothers or the African sisters like that, man. For real, for real. And if you really feeling the type of way, go with your fam, go with your brother. And if you gotta go solo, hit me up. You know, I got a group chat, so y'all hit me up and I can connect you guys with people that's in your country at this very moment if I got them. So, you know, I'm here for you guys. So, um, as you guys know, my Instagram at Traveltriberaw, if you guys want to DM me, and I can get you guys in that group chat. Also, we have a Patreon group chat as well. But my WhatsApp group chat is a bit more active, but we do have a Patreon group chat as well, patreon.com/traveltriberaw. You can sign up, you can become one of the tier members, and you get access not only to the group chat, but also consultations included. And you get access to my financial freedom masterclass, as well as all my exclusive videos that I have as well that you guys can see here. But yeah, you guys get access to all of it, man. All of my exclusive videos that I upload, the consultations, and there's so much useful information on Patreon as well. So there you go. Shout out to S Breezy. He says, "Hey, bro, bought the live today. About the live today. Okay, what's up? What's up?" He says, "How can I watch yesterday's live?" Yes, yesterday's live is going to be on Patreon, patreon.com/traveltriberaw. You can get the full exclusive live there. It was about 4 whole hours, you know. So that was pretty nice, man. We had a lot of callers. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about, sheesh, a wide range of topics, man. Passport bros, passport sisters. We talked about 5 reasons you will hate Africa. You know, we talked about a lot of stuff, but all that's on Patreon. So I appreciate you guys for being here in this one. But after these live streams are done, I private them and put them on Patreon. Okay. So that's where yesterday's live is. I have a financial freedom masterclass that's also on Patreon. It's how you guys can leave the country really quick with a small amount of money and with a lot of money. I basically explain how you can live a life that's worth living. I truly believe that us men are living lesser lives than most humans on earth. And, a lot of times, you might think in other countries, well, their lives are stressful too. That is true. That is true. A lot of guys in foreign countries, they do live stressful lives as well. But I'll tell you one thing that they do have that us men in America don't seem to have as much of. There is them here, but not as much of. They do have peace. Even though they are maybe stressed sometimes when it comes to financial issues, not saying all foreign guys are broke, but for the guys in foreign countries that do have problems with their finances, the one thing that they do have is peace. And the peace comes from, them being able to know their street, know their people, go to random houses on their block. They have a great community of people that they can talk to, and that they can get a free meal from too. I know a lot of people in different countries all throughout the world, not even just the continent of Africa. I know countries where people just walk to the street, they say, "Hey, what's good, bro? Oh, my mom making dinner. You want to come? Yeah, that's cool." And these are grown men. These are grown men. It's normal. It's normal in a lot of these countries. The other peaceful thing that a lot of these foreign guys have that us American men don't have as much of is peaceful women. It's so surprising that a lot of these women, they're in shape, they look good, and it's crazy when you think about it, but they have the women, that bring them peace. You're thinking to yourself, well, how is that possible? He can't afford her a Mercedes Benz. He's only 5'6", and he's just a regular guy. Yeah. In a lot of these foreign countries, they're okay with regular guys. They're cool with that. Not saying that a man shouldn't strive to be his best, but if this is the best that he can offer, which is maybe, not a Mercedes and maybe just a bit of money to take her to the house or whatever, or to just give her some food money or something. She's cool, man. These women are very peaceful in a lot of these foreign countries. I have ran into women that are destructive as well, but a lot of times it's easy to point them out. If you're really just paying attention, you'll notice like some women, they're a certain type of way. They're a certain type of way, man. That's all I'm gonna say. You're supposed to be able to notice. Some women, yeah, sometimes you should base people based off of what they looking like. Yeah, because you should know they might come with a high price. So yeah, that's where it is with that. But a lot of these foreign dudes, they do have peace. So shout out to them for that. But there's a lot of very feminine women in a lot of these foreign countries, guys. I'm telling you, man. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that. Okay, next. And this is a good one. We have the opportunities inside of Africa. Man, oh man, let me tell you guys, the opportunities in Africa are, I mean, they're all over the place. And a lot of people, unfortunately, they may not have the money to tap into it, but it's definitely there. And that's the amazing part about it, right? Now, you guys know I have some history in solar. You guys know I've done certain things on Patreon. I had mentioned this at some point that I did some business in solar inside of Africa, and it was a very profitable business as well. But we're just going to talk real quick about the industries that you guys can tap into and small business ideas that I created that you guys can take from, or you guys can create your own. But because a lot of people think, while these are big industries, they're thinking maybe you need a lot of money to get into it. But no, if you're a creative person, you can evolutionize certain things like the water purifications that are needed in a lot of countries outside of Africa too. There's a lot of great opportunity. Africa has water. Don't get it twisted. A lot of people think, oh, they're going to be desperate. So if I bring a damn Arrowhead bottle of water or a Crystal Geyser bottle of water to Africa, I'm going to make $1 billion. No, they have lots of water in Africa. The issue is purification. Sometimes it's very hard to get the piping correct. Sometimes it's very hard to, get the certain labs that are needed to test a large pool of water. So, that's sometimes what they're running into. So, first thing we have is a water purification industry in Africa, which is a $20 billion industry. The small business idea that I have for a lot of you guys is water purification straws. These are straws that I've seen before that you can use to drink water straight from like a lake, right? And as crazy as it sounds, you know, even though the lake water might look clean in Africa, it still might hold certain microbes that aren't good for the human gut. And these water purification straws could be a very good idea for you to bring over to an African country that's really in need of water purification. We have to remember not every community in Africa can afford to have purified water systems and piping and things of that nature. So giving them these water purification straws can be very beneficial. Next, we have is the agriculture business inside of Africa, which is a $50 billion industry. I created a small business idea for you guys, and that is to buy farmland produced need for the local market. For instance, with my Nigerian and Ghanaian brothers, with my Niger brothers and my Ghanaian brothers, with my brothers, with these brothers, they eat a lot of plantain. A plantain is a type of banana. It's from the banana family. Actually, shout out to my Latinos. They love plantain as well. If you guys go inside of a country that is in need of that likes plantains, but they have to travel about an hour away to get it from that farm, and you guys find a way to make a small farm in their area, it can be very cost effective for you because how much does it cost to really have plantains? Not that much, right? All you have to do is plant. All you have to do, and Africa's plentiful as well. It pours down rain like no tomorrow. The only unfortunate part about the rain is it's undrinkable, right? But it is rain and it does feed your plants. This is why the agriculture business is booming inside of Africa. So that's beneficial. Another thing we have is solar, which is a $40 billion industry. A small business idea you can do is do small scale solar powered batteries. Now, a lot of people inside of Africa, unfortunately, they, might need a big power unit to power their whole entire homes. But then we have certain places that are really in need of power. Power is constantly going out. It's a bad power grid. I know South Africans told me a lot about this. And even though South Africa is very modernized, sometimes I believe they deal with certain things too. Now, the issue with a small power bank is that unfortunately you can only plug in a USB. Sometimes it's only to one part of the power bank, and that only charges one device. Let's say you need to charge your computer because you have work tomorrow, or you need to do work online, or you need to charge maybe something like that. There's companies that will assist you inside of China in building your small mini solar powered battery, and you'll be able to recharge this battery and be able to power certain parts of the home at an affordable price. And when you make use of solar powered batteries, this is also very beneficial. We have to remember solar is great in Africa, at least to my belief. I love to tell people that the sun is booming, but there's more to solar than just the sun. But that's a fun joke I tell people when it comes to solar and profitability inside of Africa. Okay, guys, so that's something to keep in mind. I want to also mention something for people that are not trying to get too into this serious field, right? So a lot of people just want something very chill that they can do in Africa. And I'm here to tell you that with Africa's growing population, there's lots of teens looking for new hubs, restaurants, and clubs. Let me tell you guys something about Africa, man. These brothers and sisters in Africa love to party. If you guys can put together a club, whether that's just renting a venue for like Saturday and Sunday nights, oh my goodness. Guys, I'm giving you guys the keys here to make some good money. They love to drink. They love to go to the club. I mean, you haven't seen nothing like this. They can party till no tomorrow, man. Oh my goodness. I've seen people just stay up all night, and I'm like, did you go to sleep last night? They're like, nah, bro, I just been up. I'm like, oh my goodness, man, you just been up, and they wake up to drinking alcohol. I'm like, damn, I can't believe they can live like this, boy. But some of them can, not all of them, but there's a lot of young black men and women inside these African countries that love the club. Also, if you're just there with your wife or your family, you can put together a small market. A lot of times people come from America and they bring, import certain types of foods from America. This is highly profitable because a lot of times in Africa, they don't have access to certain things that they want from America. You know, certain foods in America is like a rare, commodity, right? Like they're looking at that like, damn, that would be cool. Like I've always wanted to try that. And that's very profitable. If you guys can find a way to export some American foods and sell it for a reasonable price, a lot of Africans will flock to there. Uh, Also, small cafes as well. You know, another thing that you can do for a family business. This is one thing I definitely want to do eventually if I was to create my own family, especially if I'm inside of the continent of Africa. This is also very beneficial as well. And cafes are very easy to run in Africa, guys. Like, I mean, all you need is let your daughter work at the front desk, and you know, um, your wife working in the cooking department, man. A lot of times they only got room for one chef, and they make it work in Africa though, man. And let me tell you guys, the food and oh man, it's just everything. The food is just so juicy, and the customer service is very nice. There's sometimes you go to restaurants that aren't too good with customer service, but I'll tell you guys this: the small family restaurants in Africa have treated me way better than any fancy restaurant has in Africa too. So I'll tell you guys that. And a lot of people say that, oh, you shouldn't go to the small restaurants, blah blah blah. Man, F what they saying, man. These small restaurants and small business owners, they know what they're doing, man. They just be hating. They don't even have a good reason to say why you shouldn't go to smaller restaurants. The food is always cooked great. Everything's always hot and ready. The customer service is usually amazing. They really like treat you almost like family. Sometimes you walk out of there getting free stuff. I can't tell you guys how many times I've been to a small African restaurant or a cafe and I've walked out with like something for free. Like, oh, just take the water. It's on us. They charge for water in Africa, y'all. They not playing. At these fancy restaurants, they gonna charge you $2 for some damn water. You're like, what is this damn water bottle, bro? Yeah, they gonna charge. So, I've had them offer me free water, they've offered me connections, and they give you a lot of information, man. Sometimes too, for a lot of people that's probably wondering, well, how do you move around these countries? You're a solo traveler. How do you do that? Like, well, the thing about me, I have a lot of connections around the world, but how I get these connections is by doing things that tourists don't typically do. Going into small cafes and restaurants, talking to local people, trying to learn the local customs and culture. This puts me at a higher echelon than I say the regular tourist that's mostly focused on maybe staying in the city or just smash on the women. That's what's going on. And this how I make good connections, and I find lifelong people that I can connect with. Another thing I'll say about the opportunities in Africa is everything's affordable for most African countries, guys. And, this is just to generalize because we can't talk on each African country in the time slot that I have available for the rest of the day. But I will tell you guys this: most African countries, you guys can get off with about $600 per month. We talk about this a lot actually on my financial freedom masterclass, so I won't spoil too much. But I did mention in here that if you were to make uh 150 to $200,000 in America, you're good for life. Inside of a lot of these African countries, you don't need to work anymore. Now you should work, but you can definitely survive on that amount of money. It's done. See, in America, that only affords 1/4 of your house. you know, that's maybe only half of your mortgage. You know what I'm saying? Like in America, you can't afford nothing with that. You know, 200,000, yeah, that's half the price of a house. In Africa, man, shoot, you pay 50,000 for that damn house, and you set. I mean, what else you paying for? Food and stuff for the rest of your time. But if you got a small little farm in the back of your crib where you guys plant your seeds and eat off of your own land that you own. I mean, it's nice, man. You guys should be aware too. We talk about this as well in the Financial Freedom Masterclass, but a lot of African countries are not exactly selling you the land to own. You do have it as a lease for 99 years. That's also talked about as well on my Patreon, patreon.com/Traveltriberaw. You guys can get a lot of this information, man. I go more into detail on so many things. Even if you're just looking to leave the country real quick and you're like, well, how can I leave real fast? I need to get out of here. I talk about how to get affordable flights very quick, how to make some money. If you have $0 in your bank account right now, this is for you. The Financial Freedom Masterclass is for you. Talk about how you can leave America in short term. If let's say you're just trying to leave real quick because as a man, you're like, damn, I've been around so many stressful people, the police, the gangs, the people just inside of America, the ladies, it's just so, I mean, man, I just need to breathe. I need to breathe. I want to live. I'm human. Well, the Financial Freedom Masterclass is for you because there's short-term ways that you can live the life that you're meant to live and how you can make fast legal money so you can get out the country as soon as possible and live the life that you were meant to live. So lots of crucial advice there. I've traveled for many years, guys. I've done a lot of things to make money over the years and to be able to live the life that you guys see me living. But, at the same time, I do have a solid base, that also funds me. But, you know, there is, before I even got established, there was ways that I was making money. So I give you guys a lot of these tips, man. And the ones that have taken the financial freedom masterclass, they definitely learned from all the videos there that, what, bro, this really did help my life. You guys can see the reviews there. Like, I mean, there's a lot of reviews that I got, great reviews, and I just hope it helps more people, man. It's an affordable course, so hope you guys get it, man. But anyways, we have some more comments. Let me talk about the comments. Shout out to More Fortune. He says, that's good game on club venue investments. Oh, yeah, brother. Oh, yeah. If you only knew the half of it, man, these Africans can party all night. And you like, don't you got work in the morning? It does not matter. We having a time. Let's turn up. Like, they don't, man, I'm telling you, boy, these Africans, man, they can care less about what you're talking about, man. What? Man, please. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just going to, they don't care about what you're talking about. You know, next thing we have is diversity, right? Diversity in African countries. This is where a lot of guys are going to want to tune in, right? Because I know a lot of dudes are, maybe you're looking for something quick, but then there's a lot of guys that follow me that's looking for something long term, something more meaningful, like where I can get a woman that is feminine. She might have a certain religion that she's under, and she comes with a certain type of aura and a certain type of morale that's hard to find in other African countries. The great thing about Africa is it's diverse, man. You have some countries that are very Muslim/Islam. You have other countries that are very big on party life. Then you have other countries that are more of a balance. That's a great thing about Africa. There's so many different countries that provide different things. Me personally, I've came to a point where I'm not too fond of being in countries where, ladies are walking around at night half naked. It's just not for me at this point in time. It looks cool to see, I guess, but I've just never been that too craved on, fantasy life and all this stuff that, a lot of guys partake in. So for me personally, I don't really focus on countries like that to go to. Maybe I go there for content for you guys and I'm okay showing that on YouTube. But a lot of times that's not really where my heart is at. My heart is being around healthy minded people. Not saying that people that party aren't healthy minded, but it's not the type of mindset that I like to personally be around. Drinking and clubbing all night, that's really not for me too much. I can be there if it's in a business setting. If it's something that I must do, I can go. I can act as great as everybody else. You probably won't see me drinking like that, but you will see me hanging out and kicking it with folks. But that's not really the kind of lifestyle I aspire to be around. But maybe you're different. There's countries in Africa for you, right? And I will say this as well. When it comes to the opportunities in Africa, I wasn't able to mention this previously, but here's me rizzing up a robot at a robot cafe restaurant inside of Nairobi, Kenya. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, there was a damn robot that literally comes and brings you your food and serves you. So I thought that was pretty cool, man. I had a good time filming that video. I had some ladies with me. That was fun. A lot of these exclusive videos, you'll find it on Patreon. But we had a great time, man. Even the woman after we left the place, she was like, oh my gosh, I just really appreciate you taking me there. Like, that was so cool. Like, oh my God, like, I just felt so great. It's such a fun experience. So these are the type of things that Africa really is missing sometimes because there's so many young people there, but they're all doing kind of the same thing. Clubs, maybe drinking, maybe some type of, this and that, but it's like a repetitive thing. Sometimes they want to try new things too. So if you're an American, you go there with a great business idea that's creative, it's affordable, you're going to get a lot of money. It's a rewarding feeling. But yeah, I forgot to mention that when it comes to that. But yeah, right now we are on how there's different settings in every country. You'll have countries that the women, they really are like this, they dress like this, they're more tribal, more traditional. Then you'll have countries that, the ladies are more out there, they're willing to, have a really good time, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They definitely showing off. You got countries where ladies are in the middle, and all guys, I'm gonna tell you this too, man. This is what a lot of these guys are telling you guys about women in foreign countries. You'll find a great woman in any country, on every continent, every country on earth. You'll find a great woman in any country. What you want is more numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because the odds of you meeting every woman in that country and evaluating them to see if they're a perfect wife is very slim to none, right? Most dudes and when they travel, they won't even meet 1% of that country's women. But when you deal with the pool of women that have when you deal with the pool of women in a certain country that has more women that are, more like this, then you have better odds of meeting the women that you actually want to marry. Now, let's say you actually want to marry some women that's more padal, you know what I'm saying? You want to meet more women that's like that and they got it going on in the back and the front, you know what I'm saying? And all that stuff. So cool. But that don't get it twisted, man. These ladies hiding a lot of stuff with these clothes on. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I ain't gonna say too much, but they hiding a lot of stuff with all these clothes on. Y'all wouldn't even know what y'all passing up on God's blessing because y'all want to deal with, the ladies that got it just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? They just got it all plowed. It's just loud. It's loud, man. They trying to show y'all, man. They wearing them tight pants for a reason, man. They trying to, you know, it almost look like, it's for sale or something. But anyways, we said enough on that topic. But yeah, it's diverse, man. It's very diverse in a lot of these African countries, for real, for real. You know, if you, let's say it's not even just for the brothers, right? A lot of the sisters may be listening to, and where can I find a man that is just like, not so focused on just the club and drinking and smoking? You have countries for that as well. Maybe you just want to find a brotherhood, that's not too focused on the club and stuff like. You got countries for that. Countries where there is still clubs, but do a lot of the brothers go to the club? No, because that's just not how they rock. So there's something for everybody in Africa, man. There's something for everybody. And lastly, slow and effective liberation. um these African brothers, man, I'm telling you, they're moving in the right direction. They're just moving a bit slow because they're limited on resources. But I'll tell you something, they're constantly breaking away from their oppressors. They're constantly having advancements and breakthroughs in technology and healthcare. And the youth crowd is pushing anti-corruption to an all-time high. So we have to shout out these African young brothers and young sisters, even the older crowd. This said, you know what, my fight's not over. I'm still gonna push it. I'm still gonna do what I can do. Man, I'm telling you guys, they are this is something's rising in Africa. Something's brewing there. A lot of these countries, they're not playing anymore. They're tired. They're tired, man. The rest of the world has forgot about Africa. So there's a lot of things progressing, but it's slow progression, you know. And if you're an American going to Africa and you're thinking to yourself, well, I've heard bad press. I've heard they do, conning and scamming. They do that in every country. Actually, America preys on you, waits till you to turn 18, and then offers you a credit card in the mail. And you're like, how did you get my address? Don't worry about that. Just sign the dotted line, can you? So there's a lot of predatory and scam like behavior in a lot of countries. It's not just these foreign countries. Just because the scam is in our face, some people would even wager to say that the biggest scam in America is the American dream, because for a lot of people this has turned to an American nightmare. That's why a lot of people are looking for alternative ways of living and alternative countries they can move to, right? So I'd say that Africa is great for legacy, man. Yeah, it's going to be difficult finding legitimate people that you can buy a home from when you don't know anybody, you don't have any connections. Yeah, it's going to be hard to get land in Africa like that. It's going to be hard to do that in every country. Maybe America it's a bit easier. Western countries, I'd say it's a bit easier to get your land and your house, right? But I want to tell you guys something, right? A lot of times when people are getting finessed in a lot of these countries and they're telling you guys a story later on and stuff and telling you guys how, oh, they've been scammed and all this stuff, a lot of times it's because they trusted one person that was independent, and that money was mismanaged. This is how a lot of that scamming goes. Sometimes the money was just poorly managed, and it looks like a scam. But and people, you can call it whatever you want, whether it's a scam or mismanaging of funds. It didn't go through, right? So it wasn't fully legit. But I do notice something. When the Chinese and other races of people go into Africa, they don't get land or buy property from one guy. They go to a corporation or a company that sells land and has properties. I've never really heard about somebody going to a mass corporation or a huge corporation in an African country and saying, "Oh, this place they con me, they scam me." No, because they know that they can actually get in serious legal trouble. One guy, I mean, or one woman that's offering you land could easily just run away, right? So we have to keep that in mind that when we do business or when we try to buy any land or property in foreign countries, we have to keep in mind that we have to be calculated how we move. Especially if you're a black person, they look at you as like, well, you don't have any country backing you. You don't even have Africa backing you half the time, right? Most of the time. So we're really in this for ourselves. So it's really about making calculated decisions with your money. You've never seen me really complain about people stealing my money in Africa like that because I don't let it happen. There's things in place for me not to get my money stolen. You know, they have different tactics that they use in many countries around the world. But if you're calculated on how you move, it will make a huge difference in the type of returns you see, whether it's land or business. All right, guys. So as you guys have now heard, these are the 5 reasons you will love Africa. Check out my video that I previously did on the 5 reasons that you will hate Africa. And yeah, man, check out the Patreon as well. Shout out to everybody that came into the live today. This was a more positive live, so we see there was a way smaller crowd than usual. But yeah, until next time, stay raw, stay real. You already know the deal. And if we don't have any more questions, we gone. Holla.